All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of the Bottom Line Podcast, where we say what we mean and we mean what we say, because at the core of everything that is, was, and forever will be, there will always be the bottom line. Today's guest is Mr. Kunle Ali. He's a mortgage loan officer over at American Financial Network out in New Jersey, and he also works at KBA Financial Group. Now, I came across Kunle's profile. And so here's the deal. It's a crazy market right now. And lending is hot, on fire, absolutely on fire. And one of the things that we want to know right now is that if we want to look for financial security, if we want to become investors, if we want to, find more stability in the markets, right, to, maybe protect ourselves from, these kinds of crazy downturns like the pandemic, you want to get in touch with people who are active. You want to get in touch with the experts so that they can walk you through these processes and how you can, increase your chances to find a way to secure yourself against these crazy downturns like a pandemic, right? So I came across Kunle's information, and I said, I really want to talk to this guy because he's got a different way of doing business, and he learned business from his dad. And I'm really focused on right now on legacy, what legacy means, how to create generational wealth, how to bridge the wealth gap, and how to educate yourself about the things that you know absolutely nothing about, or you might know a little bit about, but you also want to get somebody like some of the key players. So surround yourself with people that know more than you. That's pretty much the bottom line, right? So today we've got Kunle Ali. Kunle, how you been, man? How have things been going for you? Thanks for taking the time.
Yeah, absolutely. Appreciate you having me. I'm doing great. It's just another blessing to be alive today. So I can't complain at all.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yeah, same here, man. How have you been getting through with this pandemic, man? How's the pandemic treating you?
Initially, it was difficult, right? Just coming into something that nobody has ever, come across. There's no way for you to get prepared for something like this. So initially, it was like a big shock, but as time progressed and whatnot, it did become easier. And I don't know, I'm the type of person I like to find the silver lining in things, right? So I think that the pandemic actually helped more than it affected, right? And I think if everybody also looks at it in that, state of mind or with that same mindset, I think they would reap more benefits than, all the cons and all that stuff, because sometimes it's all about self-development, and that's an accomplishment on its own.
The last part you just skipped out. The last part you said about self-development.
Yeah, I mean, the main thing is about self-development. It's not always about money, because as long as you continuously develop yourself, more is gonna come, right? So don't get caught up in the now. Thank you so much. So yeah, don't get caught up in the now.
Yeah, definitely, man. It's crazy. That's how I came into coaching, right? Because I was going through people are going through changes, right? And when you go through changes, first you have to go through it yourself, and you got to figure out who you're becoming. And then when you start realizing who you're becoming, you start to develop this level of resilience. And then through that resilience, you start to develop a sense of character. And then it's through that you start to attract like-minded people, right? And then, like you said, it's not really about the money. It's more about, self-development, personal development, self-discovery, right? Sounds like, right?
Absolutely. I could not have said it better.
Yeah, so this pandemic has been, I think this pandemic has been an eye opener for a lot of people, right? So for you specifically out there where you are right now doing what you're doing with lending, how have you seen either an increase or not so much of an increase in business? How's that been going for you?
Well, I would say like around March, like ending of March to like say May, April.
Yeah.
Like there was a complete dip in the amount of people that are purchasing homes, right?
Yeah.
I'll give you an example. I had a woman that, we were fighting, tooth and nail to make sure that she gets her offer accepted. I'm over here getting in contact with the seller's agent.
Mm-hmm.
And, that was on Friday. She got the offer accepted on Friday. Monday comes and she's actually, she's laid off right from her job. So she can no longer qualify for that house.
Wow.
So, and that's just one out of, a lot of examples, but, it was difficult, but for some strange reason, it's not strange, but for some reason people started picking up and were actually intrigued in purchasing homes. People were telling their friends about it. So actually right now is like, it's honestly crazy. Like
Yeah.
the amount of business that's going on at this very moment is actually crazy. A lot of companies were not even prepared for it. So yeah, it's really a good time to, I guess, be in the business.
Yeah, yeah. Are you busier now than you were last year around this time?
Definitely say that. And again, it's more so, I think it's like with anything in life, right? Where they see one person doing something that seemed something like you couldn't accomplish it. They see them accomplish it, and that kind of gives them motivation to also do it on their own.
Yeah.
So I think that's exactly what's going on right now.
Yeah, that's the reason for the podcast too, right? Because I'm like, if I could just grab inspiration from everywhere and then just like broadcast it to like my following or like to the world, you know what I mean? Because you get those down days, man, where you wake up in the morning and you're like, what the hell am I going to do today, right? Because the market is changing, or your phone's not ringing, or things look crazy. So it's like what you just said, when people see success, they gravitate towards success. That's pretty much what it is. In your world is from lending, as in your world it's like in home sales. People see that and they're like, oh, I want in on that, right? Yeah.
So, and that's exactly the reason why I make sure that I market, right, to not just on one social media base, or I market on all, right? Because the thing about, well, not all, but a good amount of them, and the reason why is because if you get in front of more people, it's just like billboards. If you get in front of a lot of people and they constantly see it, the more likely they are to work with you, right? Because it's something with the psych, right? You're just constantly seeing it, you're constantly passing out billboard, and you feel more comfortable working with that person, especially if you can get an idea of their personality and their work ethic and whatnot, and that's what the online platform is,
Yeah, for sure, definitely. So you're marketing yourself, you're pushing yourself. Let me ask you, so when this thing happened before the pandemic, were you always pushing yourself and marketing yourself as much as you are now, or did you start doing it more because of the pandemic?
I was marketing, but the thing about it, and I'm not one to like I'm not an egotistical person, right? So I'm straightforward, straight. I'm going to tell you exactly what it is. For me, I was marketing myself, but I needed to get better in marketing myself, right? So yes, I was marketing, but it wasn't clear cut. And even if you look at these big businesses, they're not playing, around with their marketing. They're taking it very, very serious. So just because you're a small business does not mean that you should do anything except for that. You should take it very serious as well. Make sure it's very clean cut. Make sure that it looks very professional. Make sure that it looks like a real company that you want to do business with. Put that together, and that's where I'm at right now.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, in terms of marketing, that's exactly how it's always been.
Yeah, love it, man. I think about the Super Bowl. I don't know if you I don't really watch it too much.
I don't watch sports.
Nah, but all right. So let me just tell you this, because I stopped watching, right? Like I stopped watching, but that's when the best commercials come on, right? And you see like all the advertisers, they spend top dollar on those Super Bowl ads, you know what I mean? And you think about Facebook now, and I can tell you, I literally see the progression of people who are advertising on social media, and you can see that, they're getting better and better at it. And it's about how they're going to increase their visibility. You know what I mean? Because we're going in that, we're in a digital age now. So it's like, if you can increase visibility and you can increase, the service level that you're providing your service, you can increase that level of service, then you're more likely to do, people are more likely to do business with you, right?
Right. Just kind of like piggyback off of what you were saying. I think when I first came in this industry, I wanted to see, where it lacks, where people were lacking, right? And I know me coming in, it's like Jay-Z starting Rock Nation Sports, right? It's like, who is this guy? Who does he think that he is, right?
Right.
But the thing about it is, I saw where they were lacking, even realtors. There are a lot of realtors now, not even on social media, but if you look at the numbers, what is it? 45% of home buyers are millennials.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
So if that's the case, then that means you're not doing your job, because you need to get in front of them, right?
Right.
So yeah, it really is. It's really serious.
Yeah, I mean, you got to take it serious now. They got to be more intentional about it, right? How did you yourself get into lending?
Okay, so Are you ready? You got your popcorn and everything?
I want to know, because I know you got like a good story, and I think it's crazy. A lot of people, performance-based industry, it's scary, man, because you go a long time without making money. There's a huge learning curve. There's a lot of a lot of disappointments. There's more failures than before you get to that level of success. You experience a lot of failure, right? So I want to know more like the background. So yeah, popcorn ready. Got my little coffee here for you, right? So I want to know, how'd you get into it?
So I got into it. So my father, he has passed, but he started his own mortgage company as well as real estate company since the early 2000s until his passing in 2011. That as well as many other businesses. But for me, I've literally been around it all my life, right? It got to the point where I was 11 years old and I created my first contract. So for me, I've always loved business, but I would always, honestly, like every weekend I would be with my father, at his office, me and my brother, watching him do the documents and everything like that.
Mm-hmm.
Even helping with the, files and everything like that, file management and everything like that. That's where it started.
Yeah. So 11. You said 11 years old, you wrote your first, I don't even know what a contract looks like at 11 years old. Like, how are you writing your first contract at 11? How is that not intimidating to you at 11 years old?
You
should be watching like Batman and stuff, like cartoons.
So the thing, I'm weird, right? And the reason why I say that, weird is good sometimes, right?
Yeah.
So I'm weird to the point, I don't watch sports, I don't play video games. I just never really been into any of that stuff. So like I've had ex-girlfriends, like, people try to start a conversation and they're like, so like, what are you into? I'm like, I don't watch sports. Then just tell them that you're into business, but I never how do you say that, right?
Right.
So pretty much just to get straight to the point, I started off, basically my uncle came to me and he said, look, why don't you just, get into finance? Why don't you, see if you can become a mortgage loan officer?
Right.
I thought about it. And I was still sleeping on it maybe for like 2-3 months. And I said, let me just try it.
But let's go back just a little bit, Kunle. Let's go back. The 11-year-old, I'm still trying to get over that part. Like the 11-year-old, me at 11, I'm watching Power Rangers. I'm like, doing things 11-year-old kids do. You can't pay me to read a book at 11 years old. Like I was competitive. I like to read a little bit just because like it was like a school thing to write their book reports. But you're talking about writing a contract. So talk to me about that a little bit, just so I can understand what that work ethic comes from, your dad's influence. Talk to me a little bit about that.
So obviously, as far as contracts, it wasn't anything new to me. But what sparked that idea of doing that contract, believe it or not, it was Puff Daddy on the radio.
Really?
With the Locks, which is Jadakiss, Styles P, and
Sheik Luch.
Yes, Sheik Luch.
Yeah.
So it was around that time that they were having that friction, and they were all on Hot 97, and then they were explaining that this shouldn't have been in my contract. This should have been in my contract. Wow. And me just listening to all of that, I said, let me write a contract. Yeah.
Wow.
Because at that point, I was actually starting to get intrigued as far as music.
Yeah.
And that actually shifted me into, in my teenage years, I was managing artists.
Yeah.
I was a producer as well.
Get out.
So it was just, I don't know, it's just something that just sparked, and I just loved it. I loved every aspect of it.
Wow, that's amazing, man. That's crazy. I remember that too. I remember because Puff was a beast, right? Like he was just, you stopped hearing Wu-Tang at that time. You heard no more Wu-Tang. All you heard was like Biggie, the Locks, you know what I mean? So I can imagine, but you were paying attention to what was going on behind the scenes, right? Mm-hmm. Okay. So then you talked about your uncle too. Your uncle was like a big influence on you, your dad, your uncle, right? Where'd you grow up?
So I actually was born and raised in Jersey.
Okay.
The thing about it is I spent some years in Nigeria. So I'm actually Nigerian.
You're Nigerian.
So, yeah.
Okay.
So I would say that also attributed to the hustle mentality and everything like that. Yeah. So especially being like, I'm going to take it a step further, especially seeing, when you go to Nigeria, there's a kid that's 5 years old. As soon as he's leaving school, he's going and working at the store, right?
At 5.
At 5.
Yeah.
You have people that are starting work at 5, 6 o'clock in the morning, which means they're waking up at 4. That's like the norm. Mm-hmm. And you're not getting paid bi-weekly. You're getting paid one time a month.
That's it.
it's just the mindset, right?
Yeah.
My father, he wanted me to go to school in Nigeria, being that I'm the first son. So he wanted me to get a better accustomed to the culture and whatnot, right?
Yeah.
And that really did help out. I was in boarding school. I was there, I would say all 12 months, maybe 11 months. The 1 month I'd be here, I'll come back.
Wow.
So I was there for 11 months for each year, right?
Wow.
And I loved it. Being able to go to a botanical garden and just being able to pick fruit, right? Something that you can't do here. It's just beautiful all around.
Wow.
And going to school with politicians' children and things like that, it was just a great experience.
That's incredible, man. 5 years old. So like Nigerian work ethic is crazy. Like it's no joke. Forget it. All my Nigerian friends, I mean, I love it because like I used to do security, right? And when I was working security, we used to work at least to make the money, to really make the money, you got to work a double shift, right? And the guys who work the double shifts were my Nigerian friends, right? And what's crazy about it is the immigrant edge is what I think most people refer to it as, that immigrant edge, where you see opportunity just about everywhere. And where most people are looking, finding excuses to not take advantage, they miss the opportunities altogether. They're finding excuses. They find ways to take, and I'm saying like, people who are just like entitled, probably. That's what it is. It really boils down to entitlement. They find an excuse, they take advantage of the excuse, and they don't produce any outcomes. And then they complain about the fact that they didn't get what they wanted in life, or they still can't get what they want. But I know for sure that the Nigerian work ethic is no joke. It's like, it's real, right? You guys started really young, especially you started really young. Yeah.
And I mean, just to elaborate on that, I mean, my father always told me one thing. Well, he told me many things, but he told me one thing. He said, nobody wants a broke friend.
That's a fact. Yeah.
And I understood that. And I understood that because of the position that he was in terms of, because honestly, like in terms of the Nigerian community, he's like helped a lot of people as far as New Jersey, I can speak of.
Yeah.
Other states, yes, but New Jersey, I have kids that came to me when I was in high school and said, your dad helped my parents purchase.
Yeah.
So it wasn't a joke. So for him to say that, and the amount of or the level that people put him on, that told me a lot.
Yeah.
So you need to grind. It's not a joke. He told me, even when I was, looking into the music industry, the mentality of a lot of artists and producers, I need to put my family on.
Right.
He looked at me straight in my face and told me, listen, I'm good whether you make it or you don't. I'm good. You're not.
Right.
That changed like almost everything.
Yeah.
Because it's just that, like, just being straight honest. It's not no sugarcoating. Oh, don't worry about it. Everything's gonna be okay.
Yeah.
Come on, like you're hurting people more than you're helping them.
Yeah.
Once my father died, I realized that there's nobody coming to save you.
That's it.
There's no safety net or anything like that. And it's just like an instinct that just changes, and you just have to grind.
Yeah.
And I do think that a lot of people in America are somewhat spoiled without even realizing that they're spoiled.
Yeah.
Because the stuff that you have, even down to iPod or AirPods or iPhone, whatever, what have you, a lot of people don't have that, but they're making do with what they do have, right? One example I'll give you, my mother, she had an iPhone, right? It fell into water. She took it to Apple. They told her, no, it's done. It's not going to work. Exactly. So she took that phone, took it to Nigeria. I'm talking about maybe 2 months later.
I love it. Yeah.
You see, so it's like, and that's exactly what I'm saying. Like, a lot of times, a lot of people we could be looking at the same thing, but the way you're going to look at it is going to be completely different from how I'm going to evaluate it.
Yeah.
And you may look at it like it's broken or it's just undoable. I'm going to look at it like, oh no, I'm going to figure it out.
Yeah.
Even if I don't know how to, I'm going to figure it out.
It's interesting you said that, man. Cause so like my dad was the same way with me as a kid, right? We're from Haiti, right? So I think when we first started talking, I was telling you, we're cousins. You know what I mean? Like ancestry, somehow through ancestry, we're probably cousins. You know what I mean? Cause I think all the Haitians came from West Africa. So that's a big, Yoruba tribe there.
Yep.
But then trying to figure out, if you're Yoruba or Hausa or Igbo, I think those are the three main tribes in Nigeria, right? Or whatever other tribe, because then you have Benin too. And in Benin, you have a lot of the Dahomey, right? So, I mean, when you really break it down, it's hard to figure out the ancestry. But I think what's happening now, you can find it in the music too. Right now, like Afro beats is huge, right? And what people do, I think, here in this country, they pick and choose what they want from different cultures. You see what I'm saying? So like, I'll go to the store one day and I'll get pizza. I'll get like I'll get pizza. I'll get like a cheeseburger. One day I'm Italian, one day I'm American. You see what I'm saying? And then my music is like one day, I'm feeling Afro beats. So I'm in Nigeria. Then one day I'm feeling like, house music. So I'm in the Bronx, right? So like when we take what we want from different cultures, we kind of create this diversified mindset, right? We think in a diversified way, right? But then you can also take the work ethic. You see what I'm saying? From like those cultures too. Because like with Afro beats, you see people celebrating and dancing. And there's like, now you'll see it all over hip hop. You'll see people dancing and they're like got the moves coming. I think French Montana really like with that song Unforgettable. And he had those kids coming in and they started dancing. So it's from there, he like really exposed that the culture. But the dancing comes from a value system that really comes from that work ethic that they celebrate their achievements in dance form, right? So it's not really about the celebrating. It's like you got to do the work. You see what I'm saying?
And also, I think the thing. So there's an artist, and all Africans would know this artist, Fela, right? Fela Kuti.
Okay.
Right? The thing about, he has a song called Water, right? And basically what he's trying to explain is that we have to move like water, right? Everybody's gonna get upset of things and everything like that, but you have to still move like water, right? And the reason I'm even saying that is because, it looks like, oh, they're dancing, they're always happy. Yeah, because you have to make your own happiness. You can't be looking for happiness from outside. That's not gonna, you always have to constantly be happy, because if you ask a lot of African people, I'm sure even Haitian people, they're always happy because life is never promised. And I think even that statement right there, I think that goes over a lot of people's head. Life is not promised.
You got to work for it.
You have to work for it. Like, I've read in a Tony Robbins book, like, man, you have to be able to appreciate the small things. Do you know how many times your heart beats a day?
Right.
Do you know that if it skipped one thing, you would be in a lot of trouble?
Yeah.
But you're stressing over a flat tire?
Yeah. Wow.
Like, what I'm saying? Like, it's all the mindset. Yeah. I mean, even down to what you were saying in terms of, being able to pick from a lot of different plates, and plates meaning, ethnicities and ethnic groups and whatnot. The reason why they can't pull the work ethic is because of the mindset that they have. I'm gonna constantly say mindset, but I'm gonna explain. Yeah, because if you're the same guy that you were saying, you said that the Nigerian, he'll take over the overtime shifts and he'll constantly do it. They're the same people that are questioning how did they get that amount of money, or how are they at this position. They'll be the same ones saying they're crazy for working that amount of hours.
Yep.
So you have everything that you need, but if you're not maximizing on it, it's all for waste. Yeah. And you're just gonna look around like, this doesn't make sense. It's never gonna make sense, because you're not trying to maximize on your potential. Right. You're just trying to be, what's the word for it? You're just trying to just get by.
Yeah. So I think you're right, man. Like, okay, so like from a very young age, it's not just like, at 5 years old either. It's like in the very beginning of your infancy, your name, Kunle Ali. What does that mean? Does it have a meaning?
What is it? Crown of the house. So to me, I love it, obviously, but it's basically the crown of the house and what
crown of the house.
Yeah.
Okay. You see that? So like the house is a kingdom, if you want to think about it like that, right? And that's what I'm saying. Like, we have so much in common with the way I was brought up. Like, my name is JeanJacques, right? JeanJacques Denis, right? So like JeanJacques is like, the father of Haiti. Like he was the first emperor. Like during the slavery, the first slave rebellion was done in Haiti, right?
Oh.
Dessalines, Jean-Jacques, was the father. Like he's the one who actually was, responsible for overthrowing the French, kicking the French out, and making Haiti the first Black independent country in the world. And when I was a kid, that's what I was being instilled with in my mind. You come from greatness. You will become great. You're supposed to be great. And then you find out again through faith, right? And then it's like you just keep hearing a reoccurring over and over and over, a reminder that you were meant. It's like this programming of you are meant for greatness. You're going to be met with obstacles. But let me tell you a story about, you know what I mean? And it's like, oh, my obstacles are small compared to what history, right? Is that the same thing for you and like your name?
I honestly, I give you kudos for the way you broke that down, because I couldn't have said it in any better way. That's exactly it. It's like, for me, I know I'm destined for something. It's not just about me.
Mm-hmm.
I know that I'm destined to do more. And I think that's the selfishness, right? That you know that you're destined to do more, so you have to do more yourself.
Right.
You can't help anybody unless you help yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So it really is, and it really did begin with the name.
Yeah.
And also, when I did look into what exactly is the meaning, that definitely took it to another level.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna read the name and say Kunle and it's got to be, and you're Nigerian. Obviously, there's way more than you're letting off, than you're sharing with people, and I know that, right? So it's like now you have two people. You have your dad. I'm sure you have your mom, right? And so what was that like as a kid? Were you like always? Because you said you drew up your first contract at 11 years old. Was there a positive reinforcement, like good for you, we're proud of you, or was that like an expectation?
So I would say my mother was more of my mother was the type of person that it's not if, it's when. It's not how, it's just, there's no boundaries that could, get in your way, right? But she's also going to be realistic and not just, pat you on the head, or she's not doing that, right? Yeah. My father, he's very stern. Very stern. All my friends, all my brother's friends, they knew him for being very stern. He did not play, right? But he was a loving father, that's for sure. But the thing about it, all I can remember, I can actually get a picture right now in my office, and it's a picture of him with the Nextel phone right there with a bunch of files, right? So for me, I remember going to Disneyland, right? And my father always on the phone. Right, because he's still conducting business. My father would always be on the phone.
Yeah, he was virtual before everybody started to know what virtual was.
There you go. There you go. He got it. Right. So that's really it. But that's really where it began. That's really where it began. Just looking back, it's actually crazy. Sometimes I need to take a step back, and really evaluate things. But that's actually where it began.
Did you feel neglected as a child because you saw your father always on the phone and, things like that? Did you ever feel neglected, like he didn't have time for you at all? Because I wonder, like my dad, I didn't get to know my dad till I was like 14, man. Because he was
wow.
No, like we lived in the same house. He literally walked us to school every morning, okay? My mother would pick us up from school and, he would just, motivate us, like walking us to school, telling us how great we are and how we're going to have an amazing day. But I never knew the guy. Like I never really knew anything about him. I just knew like this was my father. You know what I'm saying? Like he didn't really, like we never had communication. It was more like, here's an order. I'm giving you an order. Do what I tell you to do. I love you because I take you to school and I'm here. But there was no conversation. You know what I mean?
So for me, to be quite honest with you, as far as like on that level, girlfriends, just like, no, because he's not really respecting what you as a child really have to
That's
say.
exactly it. Yeah.
So it's not until you become of age that it's like, what do you think about this?
Right.
When the first time he ever asked me that, I was like, oh,
your goodness. Opinion doesn't really matter, right? Until
it doesn't matter, right? So absolutely.
So no neglect. You didn't feel neglected, you're saying?
I didn't feel neglected. I think what also
me neither. I hear about it now, but I've watched you. Yeah.
Another thing about it is, my father, he also had a younger brother, right? and his younger brother will also always be there as well. So I honestly never felt neglected. Probably my brother never felt neglected as well. I know that he did miss a couple of basketball games and things like that, but as far as neglect, we didn't get that.
Yeah, me neither, man. Do you think we become soft, like this generation of kids, like they're a little bit softer because of I don't know, because you know what it is, entrepreneurship requires a lot of your attention, it requires a lot of your time, and I don't think a lot of us are you know, a lot of families are not teaching their kids to be entrepreneurs. They're teaching their kids to go to school, get jobs, and be, you know, work a job. So it's like, what do you think about that? Do you think we've become soft, that this generation has changed a little bit for the worse?
That's a good question. That really is. That really is. I think I really don't think it's about becoming soft as much as I think it is because there has to be some action before you become soft, right? And the cause of it is just kind of like what you said, where they're being taught that go get a job, do all this. You never really go through anything. I think the determining factor of where you're going to be in life is how much stuff that you've gone through. Experience. If you don't go through anything, if you're always sheltered, then you're going to end up soft, right? So to answer your question somewhat, I think it's 50-50 because I do see a lot of people that, you know, they're just going for it. They live in New Jersey, but you know what? I just got to move. I have to go and get it. I don't know what's going to happen, but I'm going to chase it. So it's like a good 50-50, I would say.
Yeah, I'm with you. I agree, man. Yeah, I think it depends. And a lot of it comes from the family. A lot of it, I think, what you're teaching your kid at home is what they're going to bring to school, not the other way around. Like the school shouldn't be responsible for trying to teach your kid, you know, values, ethics, morals. That comes from home. And then the kid shows that in school. You know what I mean? And the teacher's not responsible for that, I guess. But then, like, I think about, okay, so like, you know, lending has always been in your family. It's like a family business, right? So the pandemic to you is probably like, okay, this is an opportunity. It sounds like for you, you probably saw it that way as an opportunity for you to really figure out how you're gonna, you know, get through this setback, the pandemic. When you first started out, what kind of challenges did you experience when your dad wasn't around anymore, and you know it's just you on your own, Kunle? Like, what kind of challenges did you experience?
It just like so much things come to mind when you ask that question.
Yeah.
And they told me from the get-go, you're not going to make any money for the first 6 months. And I looked at that and that did not deter me.
Right.
I don't know why, but that did not deter me.
Okay.
Because I believed in myself.
Right.
I'm like, no matter what, I always will believe in myself that I can do anything I put my mind to, anything. In the beginning, it was rough, very rough, because I even had a real estate broker. So your dad has been doing this all this time, but what does it mean that, are you gonna become successful? How do you know that?
Right.
You know, yeah, coming across that sometimes, or we can't meet next week because I'm away for 4 weeks. Okay, that sounds weird. Or no, so call me back in 3 months. So crazy stuff that would normally deter a lot of people.
Right.
It just was like, you know what? Maybe right now is not the time.
Right.
We'll work together, but maybe right now is not the time.
Yeah.
Maybe I have to prove myself a little. Don't worry about it. There's a lot of realtors I met with in the beginning that they're now working with me now. We could literally just laugh about how it was the first meeting, right? And I don't know, like, it's just, I don't need any motivational speakers, I just motivate myself.
Yeah.
Like, every morning. And, it was tough. Anybody that gets in the industry, whether it's being a real estate agent or being a loan officer, it's not going to be easy.
Right.
But if you have the mindset of, I'm going to do this no matter what.
Yeah.
And I don't know what tomorrow's going to bring, but I have faith in God, but I also have faith in myself, then you can make something happen.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, you can make it happen.
For sure. That's intrinsic, right? That's like the intrinsic motivation, right? Because that's one of the things I try to figure out with people when I'm, taking them on as a client. are they intrinsically motivated or are they extrinsically motivated? Like you're very self-aware, right? And it came from like how you were brought up, right? So lending is like that. 6 months you won't eat. You won't eat. You got to struggle. You got a pipeline, right? Like what are some things that, how do you do that? How do you build those relationships?
Before I go into that,
Yeah.
I would say a lot of people will look at that 6 months that I just mentioned and look at like, oh, hell no. But the 6 months, I appreciate that so much, right? Because that the amount of self-development that occurred in that 6 months, that's a big thing right there. You really learn a lot about yourself when you don't have any money coming in.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
So when you start having money, you know exactly what to do with it. You know exactly what not to do with it, right?
Yeah.
Because you've already budgeted to the point where there's no money that's being wasted. You know, you can account for every single dollar.
You made a science out of it. Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? So it's not a bad thing, right? But people have that negative stigma, you know, about it, but it's not a bad thing. To answer your question, as far as networking, I just went out. Honestly, so the owner of the first company that I worked for, right? He actually knew my father, right?
Oh, wow. Okay.
He actually knew him very well. They would be surprised, very surprised, when I would just sit in the lobby, because that would be the only, you know, quiet place in the whole place. So I would sit in the lobby. I'll have a list, either an Excel list or like just a printout of all these realtors I'm gonna be calling for the next hour or 2 hours.
Nice.
And I'll be calling them, making my notes. Okay, I called this guy on this date. Okay, bam, bam. No, that. All right, let me meet these people. Yeah. Okay, I called you. Let me actually go and meet you. Right. Okay, I just did whatever it was. Right. Whatever it was to get in their face, I did it. You know. That's it. And I honestly could care less how you viewed me. I honestly could, like, I really could care less. Yeah. And even up to today, I can care less how you view me. As long as I come presentable, I can honestly care less how you view me. Yeah. That's really it.
Yeah. I can't tell you how important that is. So like there's a saying is like, what your opinion of me doesn't matter, right? Because you already know who you are, right? But the people who are still trying to figure out who they are, and they kind of like, they teeter on the brink of like imposter syndrome. Because they're not 100% sure who they are just yet. They're still trying to figure it out, right? But you've had that. So I think that's good. But like, let's go into like a little bit about how you build your relationships. And, you know, before we even get to like how you build your relationships, because I kind of want to get some tips and tricks from you. So because it's scary. And you know what's funny? Here's the other thing. When you start out, say you got 3 years in the game, you've been in the performance-based industry for about 3 years, right? Then you get a hiccup. Like right now we got the pandemic. So it's like you kind of got to start all over, right? And sometimes, you know, you might have to start getting brand new relationships. So the focus goes away from retention and it gets into growth, right? So for you to have that mindset where you're like, oh, your opinion of me doesn't really matter. But then at the same time, you might hear people say first impressions, you only get one shot at a first impression. How do you come from that place where like your opinion of me doesn't matter and then go to the other place where it's like, well, first impressions are everything? It sounds contradictory. What do you say to people who exactly? I know, but I just want you to break down that conflict for me so that we can make sense of it. Can you help me with that?
If you stay ready, you never have to get ready.
Amen. There it is.
If I know myself and I come to you, just drop in all the BS, right? And I come to you correct. Yeah. That's a good first impression. Now, me saying I don't care about your opinion, it's the same thing because I've come correct. It's not when I first met you, it was not an imposter that you met. Right. This is me. But I made sure that I crossed my T's, dotted my I's. This is not a BS thing. So to get to the point of I don't care about anybody's opinion, it's not to say, you know, whatever, like I'm just gonna be in the meeting just right. Not that, right? But I know I put my best foot forward, and you should relate to me. And if not, then it's just not meant to be. Right. And that's another thing people have to realize too. If one door closes, another one will open. Just because that door closed, it's not a bad thing. Right. That happens sometimes. Yeah. You know. Yeah.
Does the no. So let's go into the relationship part of it, right? Because you're gonna get a few no's. You're gonna get a few no's before you get your first yes. So my advice is usually like get rejected as much as you can, right? So you can get to figure out why you're getting rejected, and then also so you can get to like the yes, right? So Tell me about that a little bit, right? Like, how do you use that to not be aggressive, not to be pushy, not to be salesy or pitchy, but then to cultivate the relationship? How do you do that yourself?
So basically, what are you exactly asking?
I want to know how you, because I can get a no, and I'll take that no, and for me, I translate that no to not right now. They forgot the other letters. That no has a T at the end, and it says not, and then it says right now, not right now. That's how I translate a no. And then I keep going because I need more no's. You know what I mean? And then I'll pipeline that no to a check-in for later. Hey, how's everything we spoke about 3 weeks ago? We spoke last month. Do you remember me? Right? What can I do to help you out? How have things been going for you? Right? So I take that no, and I'm not being pushy. I'm not calling the next day and saying, hey, it's me again. Right? I'm not being pushy. I'm not being aggressive. I'm not being salesy. Hey, buy this, buy that. Right? How do you take that no to build a relationship? Or how do you build relationships on your level? Like how you do it. Maybe you don't do it the way I do it.
So when I hear no, like just like you said, like I'm taking it and I'm saying, okay, it's just not right now, right?
Right.
I'm still taking that person and putting them on my Excel sheet, right?
Yep.
And I'm putting all the notes. Okay, they said no. They said wait 3 weeks. Okay, but it was on this date. So I'm gonna go back again later, and I'm gonna call them again after I've gone through everybody else. I'm gonna go through to them again.
Yep.
Right, because at that point, it's just like what we were just talking about with the billboards, right? If you're constantly seeing something and constantly, having, making somebody, see you, hear you,
yeah,
at least they know you.
Right.
That's the most important thing. At least they know you.
Yeah.
And if you know me, then when I'm calling you, it's not a shock. If I see you, it's not a shock.
Yeah.
At least that's just getting your foot in the door and creating the relationship. Regardless if they say no or not, that's a relationship.
Yep.
Because they're aware of you.
Right.
Right. It may not be an active relationship, but that's a relationship that was established already.
Right.
Whether nobody wants to be aware of it or not.
Yeah.
So that's really it for me.
Yeah. Okay. But then you got relationships though, because then you go into referral-based business. So then like how do you get from the no to maybe a referral? How do you get from the no to let's sit down and get a coffee? How do you get a no to let's have an appointment and meet each other? How do you do that?
Constantly calling different people.
Yeah.
The thing is, it's not just because you like these 10 people's vibe online, they might be established already, right?
Yeah.
They may be working with somebody already, but there's another 10 other people over here and 10 over here and 10 over there that you can contact, that you can get in, and those first 10 people that you talk to, like you were saying, you're evaluating where did it go wrong, right?
Right.
Damn, did I not sound confident? Damn, maybe I should put this in front of all this other stuff.
There it is.
Because if I put this in front, then I've created value.
Yeah, it is.
Immediately, as opposed to waiting, last minute, and that they're like, oh, now we can finally work together. You may not get to that 2-minute conversation. They may stop you at the 1 minute mark and say, listen, I got something to do, and never answer your phone call again.
Yeah.
So it's just being aware. I think it really comes down to
being aware. Yeah. And then sometimes you got to restructure your whole approach, right? And every interaction is an opportunity to learn, right? Yeah, I think that's a lot of people. They kind of just like bypass that whole system. They just go straight to, I want to get the deal done, but then you're not going to eat for 6 months, so do your due diligence.
Exactly.
Right? Try to figure out where you went wrong.
Plus, you want to know who you're working with. It's not just a one-sided thing. Like all money is not good money. Like it's so true. It's true.
Right.
There's a lot of times that I'm like, I don't even want these headaches. I'm good.
Yeah.
Because again, it's all about self. It's all about self.
Yeah.
If you're stressing yourself out for, this relationship or for this money, it's not worth it.
Yeah. Yeah. There should be synergy on both sides, right? You guys should be able to, it's mutually beneficial. That's what you're saying, right? Yeah, for sure. And lending is a little tricky though, right? Because you guys have like crazy time frames, right? You got a lot, like the turnaround on a loan is like what, 30 to 45 days to turn a loan around, right?
About 30 or 45 days, correct.
So then you got to keep the pipeline. You got to keep your pipeline filled, right?
Correct. So
how much time are you spending? Like, how's your time management? How much time are you spending talking to people? How, doing, admin work? How's your time management with all of that?
So I've gotten a whole lot better, right?
some words of wisdom, please, because people need to
know. so I'm not gonna sit here and, like I said, I'm transparent, so I'm not gonna sit here and say, oh, I had to figure it out, all this. No.
Right.
I mean, in terms of time management, I think it really depends on the person. I remember I spoke with a coach, and she's like, man, you got it. If I don't even know you, but if I met you, I feel like I would want to work with you, right?
Yeah.
So I know I had that aspect of it out, but one thing she told me was this. Well, two things that were very important. One, I mean, some people work better in the morning. Some people work better at night. You have to figure out what works best for you.
Right.
Right. That's one. Two, she in this industry, you'll come across a lot of people that say, I need this done right now.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
She's in the same industry, right? So she told me, yeah, right. So she told me, me and my broker, honestly, we've been in this for 30 years. There's only been one time that we had to put files on an airplane to send. A lot of times people think, a lot of times people think it's an emergency, and it's really not.
Right.
Right. A lot of times people are calling you for an emergency, but it's an emergency for them and not an emergency for you.
Got it.
So you're getting yourself riled up, or riled up, and you have anxiety now and all this stuff for no reason.
Right.
Right. That's and I think that's a big thing right there. But basically, to kind of take a step back, it's pretty much just being aware of, okay, I work better in the morning. Me, I wake up at 5 o'clock every day. Okay. So I like to go for my walk. I like to, work out. Then, I like to start heading to the office, right? I would say from 7:30 or 8 till like about 11, I'm just making sure I'm going over my, putting in new applications, for, clients that just got their offers accepted. Going over the conditions, the required conditions from the underwriter for, my clients, making sure that we have all those documents, bank statements and everything. So when everybody does come in, it's already in your email.
Right.
So that's that. Then from 11, I would say until like 2, 3, I like to make sure that, I'm answering phone calls, I'm answering emails. Then around 4 to I'll still work. My girlfriend kills me at about 8:30. No, I'll say like 7:30. She kills me if I'm doing anything past that. So about 4 to 7:30, I'm, just making sure everything is good for the rest of the day. So this way, when it does come time for like 7:38, I can have peace of mind.
There it is.
Because I think that another thing in terms of anxiety is feeling like you have not completed the day or completed all your tasks in a day.
So it's all about being prepared. It's all about being prepared, like making the necessary preparations, right? It sounds like.
My father also said another wise thing, which is don't put off till tomorrow what you can do today.
Yeah.
Right. And I like, it got to the point that same coach that I was telling you about, it got to the point that she told me, I think you're taking it a little bit too serious. Right? Like she legit said that. I think you're doing good. I don't think that you.
How would you be taking it too serious though?
No, because bro, it like now I go to sleep at about 9:30, right? I would be up pretty much all day, right? Because from morning till night, I'll be working. Yeah. And just with the mindset of, well, I can't just have this open for tomorrow morning. I have to make sure, but it's not that serious. There's some things that are priority.
Okay, I see.
Handled, but not every single thing needs to be handled at that very moment. So that's what she was basically referring to.
So for you sound like a guy that, you need to be efficient in order for you not to have the anxiety. Because there's a level of efficiency that you expect for yourself, right? And then there's also like, you want the peace of mind. So thank God for your girl, right? Because she's like, pull away from work. You need to, I'm going to remind you of that peace of mind. But in order for you to do that, you got to make, like you said in the beginning, you got to dot your I's and cross your T's. And you spend a lot of time doing that, right? So, what's crazy too about, and I think in any performance-based industry, like in any game that you're in within the performance-based industry, that if you lack that level of efficiency, you do a disservice to your client, and then you won't be able to get referrals. You wind up spending more time trying to get more customers, right? But then you don't get those long-term relationships because you didn't do what you're doing. You're doing the back end stuff. But then it sounds like you also have you have your own expectations. You don't have somebody like a drill sergeant on you all day long saying, hey, you need to get this done. You do that to yourself, right? That's that intrinsic motivation again. Yeah. So, so if people don't get overwhelmed, and you can make it as simple as possible, what are some things you would say to people who maybe are overwhelmed with, too much? They got too much on their plate. They got the family, they got the relationships, they got, work, right? What some things from your experience that you would say? Maybe some words of advice.
I would first thing I would say is quit with the excuses.
Quit the excuses. Okay.
Yeah. And I say that because there are a lot of people that have a whole lot more on their plate than us.
Yeah.
You have, business owner, you have just even reading Elon Musk biography, right?
Yeah.
And how he would legit work all day. Sometimes he wouldn't even take a shower.
Yeah.
Right.
He's got 5 kids. He's crazy.
See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And the thing about it is you have to realize, like, people don't just get there just because they're praying to get to be successful, or because they have that feeling, that urge that they want to be a millionaire, or they want to be successful. A lot of people don't want millionaire, but a lot of people do want success. But just because you want it, or just because you're praying for it, does not mean it's going to happen. You also have to put the work in behind the scenes.
Yep.
Right. I think the most important thing is the excuses. No matter what, you're going to tell yourself this. It's excuses. It's just in a different form than the typical excuse. You're telling, nah, but you had a long day, so I think you should take it easy.
Yeah.
That's it right there. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So this whole grind thing, like when you listen to like dudes like Gary Vee or like other guys who are like super influential, and you hear grind, never stop grinding, or I work more than you and I outwork. Like, do you think that's healthy, or is there like a healthy balance? What do you think?
So do you remember when Puff Daddy, he said that I never sleep?
Yeah.
And that was like a big thing.
Right? I tried that. I burned out. That doesn't work.
I remember hearing that, and I asked my dad, I was like, damn, so he never sleeps?
Yeah.
And he's like, come on, no. He's
exactly. Even he couldn't even carry that. Nah. He knows he sleeps.
Exactly. So at that point, that's why honestly I don't even listen to a lot of those guys. One, I don't need it really, but also because you may not understand what exactly they're trying to get across, right? Because you don't have that one-on-one conversation with them, so it may be taken out of context, what have you. Yeah. So, but as far as that, I mean, yes, you do have to grind, but again, it's all about self. Yeah. If you're not, if it's not self-development, it has to be or self-growth, it has to be, taking care of self, maintaining self. Right. So it does have to be a balance. That's why there's yin and yang, right? That's why there's black and there's, so it's all these things like that you actually have to think about. And it's just like, you have to make sure that you're, keeping yourself sane. Because the reason why I made sure of that at this point is because I don't know, it just makes me think that that's the people that kind of go, off, I think that's where it starts. Yeah. Right. Where you're putting so much on your mind, on your brain.
Kanye. It happened to Kanye, right? He was like sleep deprived. Yeah. You're right.
So, and I think that's what happens. It's just gone, right? Because you're not maintaining yourself. Yeah. You're just going. But what happens with the car? Right. If you don't put the oil in there, what happens with the car? If you're not, changing the belts, it's gonna break down.
Yep. That's it. That's exactly it. Yeah. You can tell that the way you think and the way that you even articulate thought, that you've been tried and true, and you've already tested yourself and put yourself to the limit and proved to yourself that you can get through. You can tell just by talking to you, right? That all right, yeah, this was a challenge, but I overcame it. This was a challenge, I overcame that one too, and I'm ready for the next challenge. That's what it sounds like, right? When I hear you talk.
Faith. It goes right God, back. But also yourself. If you believe in God, one, that somebody is always looking out for you. No matter if it's good or bad, you're going to learn from it. Yeah. You're going to learn from it, and you're going to grow. Believing in self, nobody's going to be confident in you. Nobody's going to tell you good job. You have to be able to tell yourself good job. You have to be able to, believe that, listen, damn, this doesn't seem, bearable. This doesn't seem, like something I can accomplish, but I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
I'm going to do it. There was a millionaire that said one thing. I was watching like something on YouTube. A millionaire said one thing. Mm-hmm. She said, can you believe I would do more than somebody that pretty much got 100% of whatever they're trying to, or map out 100% of whatever they're trying to accomplish. I would do more based off of 45%. And she goes a step further. She goes, you're wasting all this time just trying to be perfect, going back and forth. No, this is not right. This is right. Nah, by the time she reaches 45% and just goes,
yeah,
she's going to go past you because she's going to learn along the way.
Yeah.
I always say life is not hard. We make it harder on ourselves.
There it is.
And it really comes from overthinking, procrastination, thinking that you can't do something.
Yep.
You sit there and say, damn, how did that person do this? How did that person become a millionaire? How did this person become successful?
Yep.
It seems like how, but it's because they just took it to another level.
Yeah, they kept chipping away at it. I say that to my son. My son is 8 years old, and I say to him, listen, life is easy. People make it complicated.
Yeah.
Life is easy. We made it complicated. So look for the thing that you know how to do. Look for the thing you know how to do well. And I say that to him because I have to continue to remind myself about that. You know what I mean? It's like
you want him to be better than you.
Yeah, it's like you just said it, right? Because that's our whole relationship is don't be like me, be better than me. You know what I mean? So like, and I think about it. This is my whole coaching business is centered around your own strength, like strength-based development. You know what I mean? And it's like whatever you're good at it, expand on that. And what you're not good at, find somebody who's good at that and partner with that person. You know what I mean? So what you're saying is key, man. It's like just keep chipping away at it, and eventually what's going to do it accrues in value, and you can become, if you want to make it like, money, and you want to say, all right, I'll be a millionaire, fine, you'll become a millionaire. But the value doesn't really, what it is doesn't really have like, a tangible value to it. It continues to go on. You know what I'm saying? So like we're continuing to evolve. So the pandemic to me is like another opportunity to evolve. You know what I mean?
That's it. Yeah. But you have to be able to see, you have to be able to pick that diamond in the rough, right? Yep. You have to be able to know or see the silver lining in it, and be able to say, well, damn, I just lost my job because of this pandemic. Yeah. But maybe I need to really hone in on budgeting. Yeah. Or maybe I can use this time that I did not have to, go and get a core or certification or something like that. Yep. Right. Maybe now I can finally go into that path that I've always wanted to, because the thing is, if you realize we don't know the future, God does. Yeah. Right. So if you always think that, okay, if I don't know the future and God knows the future, maybe I have to take on any opportunity that's in front of me, not any, but obviously like after, looking at it and thinking about it, very well, right. But I have to take on these opportunities and not hold myself back by doubting myself. Right. That's it.
Self-doubt is a big one. Yeah, that's another one. We could talk about that for hours, for real, because that's another one. I tell you, it stops people from making a lot of things happen for themselves, man, for sure. Where do you see yourself, like say 10 years from now? Where do you see yourself?
So 10 years from now, this question is funny because I know a guy that he owns a NASCAR team. Oh, wow. And he said, I was telling him this was maybe like 5 years ago. I was telling him, my plans for the next 10 years and everything like that. Yeah. He's like, that's great. But I want to own a football team in 10 years, but I'm focusing on the 2 years right now. Right? Yeah. So it's just funny that you said that. But for me, 10 years from now, obviously I want to have a nice property portfolio. I want to be able to, I'm not going to retire. I don't want to retire. I know a lot of people do, but I don't want to retire. I want to focus on my, my property portfolio, expand on businesses, not just here, but also Nigeria and also other countries in Africa as well. Yeah. But, one step at a time. I also want to, there's a bunch of opportunities.
Businesses. Dude, though, you got that damn Gote out there. He's like, It's no joke. He locked everything down. Like he owns pretty much majority of Nigeria. Wouldn't you say? It was like the richest man in the entire Africa, the continent of Africa.
He's definitely the richest man in Africa, and
Right?
that's one of my motivations right there,
Yeah.
for sure. And it's not because of the money, but the way he went about it. He owns, and the stuff that he owns, right, from cement to flour to mine. It's just so many different things that he owns, across different sectors.
GDP. He owns the freaking GDP. This guy, like everything that falls under GDP, he owns it, or he's got a part of it, right?
Seriously.
Yeah.
And
So it's like,
he's doing his thing. So like in 10 years, honestly, that's probably a perfect example of where I want to be at.
Yeah.
Because it's not just real estate for me. It's not just mortgages. I want to expand,
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I hope to do that too, man. I want to get back to Haiti. I want to try to do some kind of I don't know if it's going to be for profit or not for profit, but I want to do some work in Haiti. I want to definitely partner with people. I think that Haiti and Nigeria should have a relationship.
For sure.
And it's interesting to me that Haiti is not part of the African Union. Like I know why, but I think that's something that should happen now. Like they should become a part of the African Union because they need that backing. You know what I mean? Countries like that Nigeria has their own oil, and they have their own bank in the city. You know what I mean? So it's like there's no reason why Haiti shouldn't partner with Nigeria, with like Ghana and other countries in the African Union for them to do some kind of collaborative work, right?
Well, maybe me and you coming together. Maybe this is the
That's
first
what
step.
I was at. I was like, "Where you at in 10 years?" Because this is what I'm thinking.
Well, hey, we have to start somewhere.
Start somewhere, yeah. It just costs a lot of money. It's a lot of money that you got to make. You got to, get a lot of capital, and you got to have a good game plan. So hopefully.
But with the thing with capital, it's just a tool.
Yeah.
When you realize that money is just a tool, it changes your whole thing. But like it's serious what you're saying.
Are you following Akon at all? Do you follow what Akon's been doing?
I have been looking at it, like, here and there with the lighting of Africa.
Yeah.
I mean, even that is phenomenal, especially from where he started.
Yeah, exactly. He started in Jersey.
His path we're not going to talk about, but he started in Jersey.
He talks about it all the time. Like he talks about it. Yeah. But I'm just like, you know what? I think we need to get more and more of that mindset. You know what I mean? Because there's so many opportunities, across the world. And you got this pandemic. This pandemic is a global thing. So it's like, don't think locally now, think globally now.
Yeah.
It kind of like help me maximize my view. You know what I'm saying?
And also, I think this is a big one. And it's not even for Africans, but also in general, right?
Mm-hmm.
Don't be too prideful to do things on your own, right? It's okay to have a team. It's okay to work with people, right? Don't just try to be that guy, right? Because you may actually be holding yourself back.
Yeah.
Right. It's okay to network. It's okay to form partnerships and whatnot. It's okay. As long as it's gonna get everyone to the same goal. Right.
Right.
But if you have that closed mind mentality,
Ego,
which is
like ego,
that's
ego.
it.
Yeah.
It's so sad. It holds us back. It holds everybody back.
Yeah.
And it hurts more than it helps, right?
Yeah.
Because the same question that you were just asking, as far as 10 years, you could get there in 2 years, but if you do it on your own, you can get there in 10.
Right.
But, so it's just like taking a long way. And if you really look at other ethnicities, they don't have a problem working together.
That's right.
And that's the reason why they, go a lot further, grow a lot faster, a lot stronger, a lot more dominant because of working together.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean?
Yo, so like, I don't want to take up too much of your time, but when you said that, I thought about, you seen Black Panther, right?
Yeah.
So like my guy in Black Panther is M'Baku.
Okay.
I love M'Baku.
Okay.
I think he should have like his own offshoot, and we should go into M'Baku, because I think that's exactly what it is when you think about the Black, quote unquote Black community. What you have is you got a lot of ego, you got a lot of competition, which to me goes right back to like tribal warfare, right? And when you got to do like M'Baku, there's one everywhere, right? There's like a guy like you, a guy like me, who's like somewhere in their empire and they're overlooking everything, and they want to participate, but they're afraid to, because they think if they participate, they're going to be betrayed. And that's what happened with M'Baku. M'Baku was like, you forgot our people. You know what I mean? So it's like, how do we And I think it's going to take a certain level
It is.
of maturity, of understanding, and of time for us to understand that we should not be afraid of betraying each other. We should be more focused on how we can help each other. What do you need? Can I help you with that? This is what I need. Can you help me with this? And then we can have like a, you know what I mean?
Because
Pro kind of thing.
what you're saying is on point, right? Because betrayal's out there, right? Just the same way, if you walk out this door now, or you're not here,
Yeah.
no, but if you walk out your door, anything is liable to happen, right?
Right.
It's the same thing, right? Betrayal is there. We know that, but that doesn't mean it's going to happen to you if you partner up with this person.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean that that's going to happen.
Yeah.
But if you think that in your mind that's what's going to happen, that's what's going to happen. One, because you're thinking negatively, you probably don't even know what you're putting off, the energy.
Yeah.
And that person's going to look at it like, well, I can't trust this person, and bam, there you have it. It's going to self-destruct right in front of you.
Yeah.
Right. So it is what you're putting out there and what you're thinking, right? Because again, if you're thinking that, that's what's going to happen.
Right.
Every action has a reaction.
That's a fact. Yeah. Yeah. You done said it, man. All right. I'm gonna let you. That's a good one. I think people will need to let that marinate a little bit, right? I'm gonna play a game with you. It's called Hands Down the Lightning Round, right?
Okay.
I'm gonna give you three topics. You tell me your bottom line about these three topics, right? First one, since you're from Nigeria, and you've been following, where do you think would be a good African vacation destination?
Nigeria.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
Honestly, especially December, right? Because what it is you have all the all the Nigerians. Let's just say everybody from America, London, everywhere, they're coming back home for Christmas and New Year's.
Oh, is that right? Okay.
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's really crazy, honestly.
Yeah. Okay.
And there's beaches, there's everything there. Like ShopRite, everything's there.
The only one I know about is Dakar City. Dakar.
Dakar?
Yeah.
Lagos and Abuja.
Huh? Abuja?
Lagos and Abuja, I'm telling you.
Okay. No, I know about Lagos. Oh, everybody knows about Lagos.
Yeah.
But I'm
also
about
Abuja too.
Abuja. Okay. Yeah. Cool. Yeah, I'm gonna Google that. I'm gonna look into that, right? I don't know, maybe somewhere in the next 10 years. Within the next 10 years, I like to visit. Within.
That's too much time.
Oh, I know. All right. What, 5 years? Within the next 5 years?
Let's say 3.
3? All right. Yeah, let's do it. That's real. I had like other destinations in mind, but yeah, we'll work on that. Yeah, we'll work on that. Second one, Caribbean or food, ethnic food. What's your favorite ethnic food of all time? Don't go into that. What is it?
Not to be biased, but it's gonna be Nigerian.
It's gonna be Nigerian. Funny you gonna say
that. I promise you, it's because I actually watch myself, right?
Right.
I'm just like what you were just saying earlier, right? Where I try different stuff, I like different stuff, but it's always gonna come right back
to Nigeria. I'm the same way with Haitian food, though. I'm the same way with Haitian food. I'm like, I'll eat everything, but Haitian food is the best, right? I'm the same way, so I get it. I hear what you're saying.
It's oh my goodness.
Nah, Nigerian food is good though. What about that rice though? Like everybody does the rice a little bit.
That's why I was telling you you're Nigerian, because we have the best jollof rice. Not anybody, not the Ghanaians, nobody.
Right.
We do.
Yeah, everybody says that we have the best rice, the jollof rice, right?
It's just different ways of cooking it.
Yeah. No, it's good though. It's like really good, solid, good rice right there. All right. And the last one, so with this pandemic, everything's going on right now. What's better for you? Is it better for you to work remotely, or do you feel better and more productive when you go into the office?
I honestly feel better going into the office. I mean, it's not that I can't work from home. It's just that when I do come to the office, I know I'm here to work. It's nothing else. I don't have a kitchen there. I don't have anything else. It's just focus. And because I can get a lot more done at the office in a short amount of time than at home, obviously, and I could just leave, right?
Yeah.
So I would say at the office.
Got you. Okay. And finally, what is your bottom line? What is that reoccurring truth for you that no matter what, in spite of any setback, it serves as rocket fuel for you to get you through any setback. What's that for you? What's your bottom line?
I'm destined. I'm destined to accomplish something. I'm destined to help people. I think that's really it's really not money. It really comes down to what I'm destined to do, and I know that's what I'm destined to do.
Yeah.
So knowing that and knowing what I have to do in terms of that destiny, it just propels me to constantly go every single day.
Nice.
Because I know I have to accomplish that.
Nice. Yeah, I hear that. It's bigger than money for you. Yeah, it's destiny. Yeah.
Money is definitely good. Again, money is a tool. Money is very important. But it's getting the tool to be able to, satisfy the destiny, right?
Right.
So that's really how I look at it.
Got it. Okay. Yeah. Where do people find you?
So my Instagram is kunle.ali.mortgage. So that's KUN as in Nancy, LE.ALLI.mortgage. And that's my Instagram. Then I have Facebook, and it's just my name, Kunle Ali. That's KUNLE, last name ALLI. My phone number is 908-342-9047. Again, I'm a mortgage loan officer licensed in New Jersey, but my company's licensed in all 50 states. So I can, no matter if it's somebody in Pennsylvania or it's somebody in Las Vegas, I can still help you.
Nice. Yeah, man. I really had I learned a lot from you. I had a good time talking with you, but I can talk to you for hours. We could literally sit here and do like a Joe Rogan 3-hour special.
Seriously, right? No, I get good vibes and good energy from you, man.
Definitely, man. Thanks for taking the time. I'm glad we got the chance to do this. Right. Follow Kunle Ali, Kunle Ali, Instagram, Facebook. Give him a call. Right. And listen, I mean, we didn't even talk about mortgages the whole time. This is the kind of guy he is.
Listen, some things are more important than just mortgages, man.
Yeah, definitely. I hear you. It's a fact. Definitely. This is the Bottom Line Podcast, where we say what we mean and we mean what we say. Because at the core of everything that is, was, and forever will be, there will always be the bottom line.